The Mini 4 Pro was one of the most successful drones DJI has ever created, and we finally have its successor here, the Mini 5 Pro. In today's video, we'll put them side by side and see what are the new changes, what are the features and improvements that the Mini 5 Pro comes with, and whether you should upgrade to the Mini 5 Pro if you're coming from the Mini 4 Pro. Now let's start with the design and the build of both of these drones. First things first, they both have the C0 label here in Europe, meaning that you don't have to comply with extra regulations, meaning that you can fly a little bit more freely with these drones. Now, looking at them side by side, you can see that the Mini 4 Pro is significantly smaller than the Mini 5 Pro. So the 5 Pro has grown significantly, in my opinion, when it comes to the length of the drone. That's to accommodate the new front that we have here that has LiDAR sensor on the front, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the video, and the huge new 1-inch sensor camera. That is also a topic for the next chapter. From all other directions, they're pretty much identical and they look the same. However, the color is also a little bit darker on the new 5 Pro, and I just love that look. Now, obviously, one of the biggest changes that you will notice straight away when you look at these drones side by side is the camera. Look at the size difference of the sensors of both of these drones. The 1-inch sensor of the Mini 5 Pro is significantly bigger and provides a lot better low light visibility for night shooting. And as for the other features, we have video 4K 60 frames per second HDR and 10-bit D-Log-M and HLG. We have 50 megapixel photos, 4K 120 frames per second slow-mo video, whereas on the Mini 4 Pro we had a 1/1.3 inch 48 megapixel sensor with 4K 100 frames per second slow-mo video. So bump up in all of these different camera parameters, and we can see a definite improvement when it comes to the quality that the 1-inch sensor is going to give you. Now, one thing I should mention is that the most significant difference when it comes to comparing both of these cameras comes when you're shooting in situations that require a lot of dynamic range, such as bright sunny days when you're shooting directly at the sun, sunrises, sunsets, or especially at nighttime. This is where the difference is mostly visible when comparing these two cameras. The bigger sensor allows for more light, and the 14 stops of dynamic range when using automatic camera settings on the Mini 5 Pro really make a big difference. In all other scenarios where you're shooting with the sun, or when you're shooting in regular scenarios where there is not really that much need for extra dynamic range, you wouldn't really notice such a huge difference between the two sensors, in my opinion. However, when you put them side by side, you will see exactly what I mean. Keep in mind, all the footage has been shot in D-Log-M and then converted to Rec 709 without any other post-processing on it. And as for the night footage, it has been shot in normal color profile, and everything has been shot in automatic camera settings, so letting the drones decide for themselves for maximum fairness. And also because, believe it or not, most people are flying and recording only in automatic camera settings. Obviously, you can extract so much more out of both of these drones if you know what you're doing, if you're using manual camera settings and ND filters, but for the sake of just comparing both of these drones, I've let them shoot in auto. One huge thing that the Mini 5 Pro has that Mini 4 Pro doesn't have is the rotating gimbal. Similarly to the Mavic 4 Pro, we have a 220 degrees rotating gimbal on the horizontal axis to create those trippy shots that, to me personally, are super played out. However, you can implement them by using different intelligent flight modes such as quick shots, waypoints, and many more. So those are not that bad when you incorporate them and pre-plan them to achieve some different looks for your footage. Flight time is another topic that I want to quickly discuss. Similarly to the Mini 4 Pro, the Mini 5 Pro also comes with a plus battery, which will give you more flight time, but will also bump up the total weight way over 250 grams. So with the standard battery, the flight time increased from the Mini 4 Pro from 34 to 36 minutes of flight time. Honestly, I'm never getting anything close to 36 minutes with the Mini 5 Pro. I'm mostly getting between 25 and 30 minutes of flight time every single time that I fly. So that's the more realistic flight time that you can expect out of this drone. So I wouldn't really say that there's a huge upgrade if you're coming from the the Mini 4 to the Mini 5 in terms of flight time. But one important thing I have to mention is that the batteries are not exactly the same. They are the same form factor. So if you want, you can put a Mini 4 Pro battery on the Mini 5 Pro and power it on. It will power on. However, I was told by DJI that this has not been tested enough, and they wouldn't say that it's a good idea to fly with Mini 4 batteries on the Mini 5 Pro, because there might be some unexpected situations that would be potentially dangerous and might result the drone to randomly fall out of the sky. So I wouldn't really advise you to fly with Mini 4 batteries on the Mini 5 Pro. Transmission has also been improved from 0.4 on the Mini 4 Pro to 0.4 Plus on the Mini 5 Pro. Honestly, I've never had any issues with the signal on any of these drones, unless you're flying in urban areas behind some very solid obstacles. You probably wouldn't deal with any problems as well. Now, when it comes to tracking, here the Mini 5 Pro is taking a huge leap, because not only it has LiDAR on the front for significantly better performance at nighttime and even better safety, but also it has an even better algorithm that is much smoother when it comes to tracking people, vehicles. There is a specific cycling mode where the active track speed has been significantly improved, and generally you can feel that the drone is now a lot smarter when it comes to tracking you from different angles, deciding how it's going to move around you to keep you in the frame, and also how smoothly it's going to do that, because now the tracking is a lot more predictable. It knows where you're supposed to go, or kind of predicts the way you are moving, and it's a lot smoother in the results that it's giving you. And I would say that previously the tracking on previous generation drones has been kind of hit or miss. Now it's a lot more usable and something that you can actually take advantage of and use the footage that the drone gives you when it's actively tracking you. The Mini 5 Pro also brings a new 48mm medium telephoto mode, which kind of fakes having a second lens on your drone, similarly to what the bigger, more expensive drones like the Air 3S and the Mavic 4 Pro have to offer. So I'm a huge fan of the idea behind this. I'm not super big on the quality that you're getting out of this new 48mm mode. To me, it's a little bit soft and a little bit more blurry than I would love to. Personally, I think with a software update that might be improved down the line, hopefully as soon as possible. I'm a big fan of the idea to have something more flexible to use on a mini drone like this that obviously doesn't have a second lens. That's a big thing that you can rely on for composing different types of shots and emphasizing on a different object that you simply cannot do with the Mini 4 Pro. Additionally, the Mini 5 Pro comes with a few other features that are worth mentioning, such as the 42GB built-in storage, Wi-Fi 6 for quicker transfer, one of my favorite features, unfold to power on and fold to power off, which makes a huge difference for regular usage, and last but not least, ND filters are included in the kit with the Fly More combo. So all of these new features and improvements definitely make the Mini 5 Pro worth upgrading to if you're coming from Mini 4 Pro. However, there is one big asterisk that I want to point out. That is that that's not going to be the same case for everyone. Not everyone shoots sunrises or sunsets. Not everyone shoots at nighttime, which is where the biggest difference comes when it comes to the Mini 5 Pro. The Mini 5 Pro is definitely safer, better in low light, and has a much better dynamic range for those tricky situations where you're relying on the camera to compensate for the extra dark shadows and preserving the highlights when you're shooting directly at the sun, for example. So in those situations and scenarios, the Mini 5 Pro really shines. However, that's not something that everyone is using all the time. So if you're one of those pilots that, uses their drone every now and then in bright and sunny conditions, but don't really care about nighttime shooting or nighttime safety, if you're not shooting at night at all, if you don't use active track, then maybe this is not going to be such a big upgrade for you. However, if you're relying on pretty much all the features that the drone has to offer, if you're counting on getting those smooth active track shots, if you want to have great nighttime shooting, if you are shooting at sunrises, golden hour, sunsets, then you will definitely notice the Mini 5 Pro being a big upgrade if you are coming from the Mini 4 Pro. If I have to give a one-word answer whether you should upgrade from the Mini 4 to the Mini 5 Pro, I would say yes. But don't feel like it's necessary 100% to do it unless you're going to take advantage of everything new that this drone is going to give you. It will be much better to focus on telling a better story with your current drone than just buying the latest and greatest, hoping that will make you a better pilot, which it won't. With that being said, the Mini 4 Pro is still a fantastic drone that I'm super big fan of. The Mini 5 Pro is just a great successor that hopefully many people would love flying as well. So which one makes the most sense for you? The Mini 4 Pro or the Mini 5 Pro? Which one are you planning to fly in the upcoming months? Let me know down in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts. I would love to reply to all of your questions if I know the answer. And if this comparison has been interesting and informative for you, drop a like and subscribe for more videos like this one. This is Mike from Drone Supremacy. Never stop flying. And I'll catch you in the next one. Ciao.